When I first wrote the first script, there was actually a different ending to it. Somebody had pitched to me that Betsy was so interesting that she could actually go on to have more adventures. So the only thing that was logical to me was to do a storyline where Betsy decides that she's going to write a book about what happened to her. So I thought it'd be interesting if Betsy had to make this choice about defending whether or not the book was real and the events happened, and to stand up for her faith and what she believes in. But I wanted also to make sure that it had a message. It had to stand out on its own. I just didn't want to repeat the first one. I was looking at it mostly as a comedy and, bringing back a lot of the fun characters.
Betsy, you look amazing!
Veronica! Mrs. Piscotti, you don't have an appointment.
But I have a concern.
Concern?
But then I started seeing, as I wrote it, that it was a lot more serious. But I was able to interlace the comedic moments wherever I could to get a laugh here and there.
Okay. Yeah, okay, that's the one. Whoa, something's happening here.
And that's not hard to do when you have Jim O'Hare in the movie as Pastor John. I wanted him to have a more interesting character this time, so I made him an Elvis fan.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
His favorite movies are Rocky films.
Remember in Rocky 2, the movie, when Mickey, his manager, shows up unexpectedly at Rocky's house because he has just heard Apollo Creed shoot his mouth off on television, and now he tells him that we should knock his block off.
I never saw Rocky 2.
And Jim, of course, is a great comedian, so he had a lot of fun with playing those elements into the storyline. But he also has some dramatic moments, too, with Tandem Daiquiri, the new character, who is my antagonist in the story.
Even in light of the church's need for financial support, that they would turn down such a generous donation, really a story within itself.
A story for another show, not yours.
I came up with Tandem Daiquiri, a wacko name, but kind of a cool show name. It's kind of the only name you'd ever hear in a movie or a TV show, but not in real life. Which I later was told, after a couple people saw the movie, that Tandem Daiquiri is kind of like Apollo Creed. It's a name that, it doesn't sound like a real name, but it makes for a great villain. I couldn't explain why all of a sudden I had a movie in my head called Heavens to Betsy. Whatever was going to happen was going to be God's will. I'm going to use my talents and my abilities to get across whatever message he wants me to get across. When I first watched Heavens to Betsy completely through the first time, and I watched it, I thought, wow, did I write all that? No. And then I realized the Holy Spirit was within me when I wrote those things. Karen, who plays Betsy, it was a small little role that she read for, and it just became more and more clear as I had her read more and more that she was Betsy.
Brian's getting the car. Traffic shouldn't be too bad. We'll just be fashionably late.
I don't take credit for that. I really believe that that's divine intervention. I believe that God put us together, and that's what I believe. I think Heavens to Betsy 2 is turned out to be a film that I'm very, very proud of. It's its own piece, it's its own story, it has its own message. And I think everybody who worked on the film did a great job, and I'm anxious to hear what everybody thinks about it.